So he said, my master really took care of my housing.
أحسن مثواي إنه لا يفلح الظالمون. Wrongdoers never ever ever succeed. This is wrong, lady. Never gonna do it. Never gonna do it. I cannot be disloyal to my master like that, and I cannot be disloyal to Allah like that. وَلَقَدْ هَمَّتْ بِهِ. And she really, really wanted him. She was bent upon having him. She wanted him badly. And she would not stop. وَهَمَّ بِهَا. And he would have wanted her too. لو, had it not been the case. لو لا أن رأى برهان ربه. Had it not been the case that he saw the open, clear proof of his master. In other words, this is ihsan. I know multiple creative tafasir are available of this particular part, that he saw the face of his father and other things. But actually from the language itself, what is a muhsin? A muhsin is someone like the Prophet described, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what? Someone who recognizes the presence of Allah even if they can't see Allah. أن تعبد الله كأنك تراه وإن لم تكن تراه فإنه يراك. You worship Allah as though you can see Him, and if you can't see Him, at least you know all the time that He sees you. So he sees this woman trying to seduce him and come after him, and he sees all those locked doors. He has all the reasons to say, I don't know what else to do, I was under pressure. I was tempted. You don't know, I was under a lot of pressure. He doesn't say, he says, I see Allah. I see the proof of Allah here. This is a test. I'm never going to give in. You guys, all of you, are going to experience some version of this story. Some version of this story will happen to you. Somebody will tempt you. Somebody will compliment you. Somebody will come and talk to you nicely. And especially if you're a good Muslim guy, you're a young guy, you're trying to protect yourself, you're trying to do the right thing on campus, trying to keep yourself clean on the, at the job or whatever. Girl comes up to you and says, hey, you want to go to lunch? And for a split second, a fire is going to light up inside your heart. Whoa, what just happened? I have never experienced such a thing. I know I like girls. I never knew they like me. Someone actually likes me? I'm not that ugly? Seriously? But I'm Muslim. Still? Shaitan will run circles around in your head. Oh man, he's gonna mess with you. And that's the time to say, Ma'adallah. Innahu Rabbi ahsana mathwaya. I seek Allah's refuge. No sister, sorry. No, I think of you like I think of my sister. See ya. Ew. She walk away, it's over. It's done. Ruin it. And guys, let me tell you, especially those of you that can't grow a nice beard, grow an ugly beard. It'll help you. They'll stay away. What more do you want? You save yourself a lot of fitna. You save yourself tons and tons and tons of fitna. There are guys that spend like 2 hours penciling their beard. Talking about the pencil? Right? And they check themselves in every reflection. Right? And they're super conscious when a girl walks by. They're super conscious. And do that. Don't be like that. Don't be like that. When I was younger, I had a friend from MSA days who was sort of a mentor to me. And we were at this convention together, and I didn't have a beard at the time. And so we're in the hotel room together, and I went to shave. And he pulls me aside, he goes, hey, when are you going to stop kidding yourself? You're not a player. You want to serve Allah or not? What is it? Why do you want to look good? Who do you want to look good for? What, do you think you look ugly if you have a beard? Huh? You want to get girls' attentions at the conference? Is that what you want to do? And I'm just standing there going, no. That day I started growing a beard. It'll help you. And if it's ugly, it's a favor from Allah. If it's a nice beard, some, ditzy girl from college, can I stroke your beard? It's really nice. That's going to happen to you. It's a favor of Allah that it's hideous. So it's like, It's like the Starbucks logo. It's everywhere, you know. That's a good thing. You don't have to dress like you're like from Iraq to protect yourself. You don't have to wear a thobe and a turban on campus to keep girls away. That'll keep your teachers away too. But just number one remedy, beard. Number two remedy, hang out with good guys. Just hang out with brothers, and don't just hang around campus. Just don't just hang around. Don't be in a place where a girl can come up to you and start talking to you or whatever, and then you're like, "This is the greatest day of my life." You know, you can't believe. You know, you won't believe what just happened. Or you tell a joke and you see a girl smile and you're like, and then the rest of that day, the smiles is ringing in your head. No, ma'adallah, innahu rabbi ahsana mathwaya. And I told you, it's okay for you to think some girl is pretty, inshallah, Muslim girl, but work towards qualifying to marry her and use the right channels. Approach the family with your family, things like that. And if you're not ready for that, then let it be a thought and let it pass. It'll pass. It's okay. You'll get over it. It's not going to be. It'll only turn into a big deal if you make it into a big deal. I saw her, and my world changed forever. No, that's just a novel. That's not reality. That's not how it works. Okay, this is over dramatization. That's not how it works. The temptation is there. That's fine, but you have to stop yourself from these situations. This may happen in family gatherings, at parties. You know, Ramadan is coming. After Ramadan, the real fitna is Eid party. Extended cousins, their friends, everybody's at the house together. And if you guys are Egyptian or Pakistani or Palestinian or Bangladeshi, and most of your families, they don't have separation in your parties, and you're the weirdos because you wear hijab or you have beards, but you're invited to those parties and you're in these awkward situations. Or the weddings you get invited to where they're blasting music, right? And all the men and women are sitting together and everybody's dressed up, like overly dressed up, and you can pass out from the intoxication of the perfumes that the women are wearing, right? And then they have this like really obnoxious DJ. Everybody, it's time for the dance floor. You know, you cannot be part of those gatherings. If it's family, go say salams and leave. Just leave. You can't be part of it. You can't boycott it either because they're family, but you can't participate in it either. It's not in good conscience. Not in good conscience. Would you want your wife to know, your future wife to know you were in that situation? Would you want to, for guys, think about it. Would you want a wife that, was at some party dancing and other men were looking at her? Would you want a wife like that? No. Allah put something inside us. It's called ghira. In Urdu they call it gharat. It's the Arabic word. It's ghira. Ghira. This relationship is something that's supposed to be individual. The beauty of your wife is not supposed to be shared. Because it's part of the happiness inside the house. And if the beauty of the woman is shared outside the house, it ruins the beauty that she's supposed to have inside the house. A lot of you sisters, I blame you for one thing. I blame guys for a lot of things, don't worry. Myself included. But I blame you for one thing. You really dress up when you go to a party. You never really dress up for your husband. It's wrong. It's not right. And if it feels like that, if it feels like the only time you really dress up is when you go somewhere else, and never for your husband, this is not right. This is not being good to your husband. And you guys, can you put some deodorant on or something? Seriously, can you not dress up nicely every day? You know how you clean yourself up before you go to work? Clean yourself up before you go to sleep. For your wife, clean yourself up. Put cologne on. Put deodorant on. Wash up. Be really nice smelling before you go to sleep. Don't be what you are right now and long day. Don't do that. These are the things that make husband and wife unattracted to each other, but that doesn't mean the feelings of attraction disappear. They just go in the direction shaitan wants them to go. You have to beautify marriage for each other. I alluded to that before. So now in this case, لَوْلَا أَرَّأَ بُرْهَانَ رَبِّهِ, young man, you're going to have to see the evidence of your Lord. If you guys are in college, the only thing that will protect you is going to be other brothers that see things the way you see things. You will have guys at the MSA that are a little too chummy with the girls. Stay away from those guys. And don't even try to change them. Just Find a good bunch of guys that are keeping to themselves, that want to take care of their salawat. I would even say go to Islamic conferences. If there's a, like in Texas we have Texas Da'wah, or if there's an MSA conference happening somewhere, go on a road trip with a bunch of brothers and build a real bond. These are the brothers that protect each other. You know why I say that? Because Quran told us about brothers protecting each other. Ashabul Kahf. They were living in a time of fitna, but they had each other's back, right? They stayed together. You gotta find your other people of the cave. You play ball with them, do homework with them, go to conferences with them, do stuff with them, but stick in a group. Be in a group, be a bunch of guys together, just do guy stuff. What about the sisters, man? Don't worry about the sisters. Sisters, you do your own thing. Yes, there are college settings and youth group settings where the activities are joint and we can do that and all of that. But I want to talk to you about that on the practical side, inshallah ta'ala, after this. But understand that this temptation stuff will get to you before it gets to anybody else. Other people don't even have these standards. Our religion put these things in place because our religion understands. Our deen teaches us that shaitan wants nothing more for us than for us to lose our dignity where we started our day. And he will get to the Muslims before he gets to anybody else. So watch yourself. Really, really watch yourself. Be very, very careful. So in these few minutes that I have left, I want to share with you what I did not go over. That is pretty important, so we're going to have another session soon or something, inshallah, to just finish this up. I'll try to schedule something and we'll put it to a close. The things that I had left was, the ahkam, the rules of Allah inspired by the teachings of shame. So what I've gone through so far is the morality of shame, like how important it is to guard our shame. I haven't actually given you any rules other than the general وَلَا تَقْرَبُوا الزِّنَا, which is a pretty powerful rule. It's very comprehensive, right? But there are actual very specific rules that Allah revealed in 2 surahs. There are 2 surahs that have these rules, all of which have to do with protecting our shame. Those 2 surahs are Surah An-Nur and Surah Al-Ahzab. Surah An-Nur and Surah Al-Ahzab. They have rules in them that every Muslim family should know, every Muslim young man should know, every Muslim woman should know. Everybody should know these rules. These rules are even important for children. So and I'm not going to give you a long fiqhi discussion on those rules, but at least the general wisdom of those ahkam and how you can immediately apply some of those rules in your house, inshallah ta'ala. That is what's outstanding for the most part in our discussions. And then that's pretty much the end of what I had prepared for you. The last thing I do want to share with you is some things about social settings. Appropriateness in social settings, okay? This is something I researched when I was starting Bayyinah. Because I was going to go around the country and I was going to teach both men and women. Right? I was going to go, and so it was important for me to know what are the restrictions and the guidelines for teaching men and women. And so I approached multiple scholars for their opinions and research and papers on this issue when it comes to education, when it comes to different kinds of settings. So it is a complicated subject in our religion and especially in fiqh. It's not a straightforward subject. I'm not a faqih, I keep saying that, I don't know how many times more I can say it. Okay, but I will tell you some basic things, and inshallah ta'ala with Shaykh Umar Sulaiman we'll have a more detailed discussion on the fiqh side of these things, and maybe even involve Shaykh Abdul Nasir on that side too. Okay, but I'll give you some general guidelines. There is, the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam actually had a specified time where he would teach women, where he would do that. Especially the women of Medina, and actually the women of Medina were different from the women of Makkah. They were actually a lot more bold. And the Sahaba even noticed, they're more bold. Like Umar radiallahu anhu said, they're not like the women of Makkah. So there was a difference between them. And they're outspoken. And we even know that from many athar and many hadith texts. Like, Umar is giving khutbah radiallahu anhu and a woman gets up and says, you can't say that. Allah said this. Like, lady, why are you not in the sister section behind a glass? Why are you... Oh, and you're talking to Umar. Umar. You don't want to point a finger at Umar like that, but she did. She's like, gutsy lady, She did that. And, there are assumptions that men and women should not interact with each other at all, under any circumstance. That's what Islam wants. That isn't true. As a matter of fact, non-mahram, man and woman, talking to each other in public, outside, is mentioned in the Quran. Musa alayhi salam went up to 2 girls that were not his mahram. Then he went over and talked to them and said, what's wrong with you ladies? Ma khatbukuma? What's wrong with you? And they said, well, we can't feed our animals until the whole flock is done. They had a conversation. He didn't go up to them and say, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Ya ukhtayya, my two sisters, fil Islam. He doesn't know even if they're no Muslims. They don't know. They don't know him, he doesn't know them. They don't know he's Musa alayhi salam. They don't know that. They don't know any of that. But they had a conversation with each other. A non-mahram talking to another non-mahram. About what? A problem. They were wrestling with sheep. So you have to go talk to them. What are you doing? What's going on? Can I help with something? But he didn't prolong the conversation. He kept it to the point. What are we learning in Quran? If you keep your conversation to the point, it's fine. You might have a female co-worker. You might have a class. I have students. I have to answer their questions. They have a right to me as much as the brothers have a right to me. Because I'm teaching a class. It's a matter of justice. I can't put them in the back and not give them the same kind of attention. It's not fair. And I brought this up. If in education, is it fair or not? This is no. It's acceptable. There are ulama that are more conservative on this, and there are ulama that allow it too. But there are plenty of mainstream Ahl Sunnah across the schools of thought scholars that allow this. That allow, for example, this kind of setting. If it's meant with certain kind of restrictions. You know, there shouldn't be small talk. If I crack a joke, it's to the entire audience, not to sisters by themselves, or something, because that's inappropriate. That's not right. Right? And you're supposed to have a certain line, there's supposed to be a certain line of discomfort between you and myself. Or between you and any other non-mahram. There's supposed to be a line of discomfort. There's supposed to be a level of seriousness. You're not supposed to be giggly when you come up individually and talk to a non-mahram man. You're not supposed to be like, no, I have a question, brother. You said this. Why? Learn to be like that. Learn not to be giggly around non-mahram men. Not smiley. Jazakallahu khairan for so many things you're doing. No. Say that on your own. Don't come up and say it to me. Don't come up and say it to me. Say that to your dad. Jazakallahu khairan, Baba. You're so awesome. Great. When you come up to a non-mahram, if it's your teacher, if it's the imam of the masjid, if it's your employer, keep a serious tone. Keep a serious tone. You know, when a woman uses a serious tone, the man becomes serious automatically. Girl comes up to you, you think she's kind of pretty. She comes up to you and says, Assalamu alaikum. You're not going to get your play around now. It's done. It's over. But she comes up to you and says, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. No good. No good for you. Then you'll be like, oh, wa alaikum salam. You know, that's bad for you. So you have to keep a stern voice. And these rules, I'm kind of alluding to them, Surah An-Nur already covers them. These rules are already there. You have to keep a stern voice. You have to keep your eyes low. As low as it doesn't mean you don't look away like, brother, I have a question. Like you don't do that either. But if you don't stare at the person. You're like, yes, sister, do ask. No, not like that. Not like that. يَغُضُّ مِنْ أَبْصَارِهِمْ يَغْضُضْنَ مِنْ أَبْصَارِهِمْ. That's normal. It's not like over the top, but the idea is to keep yourself low. Don't stare. You know, make just enough eye contact to get your point across, and that's it. That's all. You don't need more than that. You know. So these certain things, they are the guidelines by which public settings make it okay. Now when it comes to parties and other kinds of settings, right? Things get a lot more complicated. I will tell you what I have. It's not fiqh. It's not fiqh. Is what restrictions I impose on my own family. So this is not sharia. This is not a fatwa. This is just how Brother Nouman lives in his life. That's it. So and if you like it, you can keep it. If not, there's no sin on you for not doing what I'm doing, because that's just the lifestyle I've chosen for myself. Okay. In the lifestyle I've chosen for myself, when we have guests come over or we have a party, then the sisters are to themselves and the brothers are to themselves. And even if the sisters are my students, because a lot of times they are and I know them, I try not to say salam to them. I try not to talk to them. I just stay among the brothers completely. And we're as separate as we can be. Okay? And if there's food that needs to be passed down, or up in my case, which it does, then I have the children do that, or I come halfway up the stairs and my wife meets me halfway and we We operate like that. That's our modus operandum inside the house when there are guests over. That's how we do things. If there's a friend that I have that comes over, he will never ever 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 see my wife. Not even in hijab. Not even completely covered. He won't know she exists. He'll be in the living room. He'll be in my office. He'll be somewhere else. I will have them go away, and then we'll do our talking or whatever. He might hear her because she's cooking and saying, "Nouman, why aren't you taking the food yet?" or something. He might hear her, but he'll never see her. It's a thing. There may be cases where we're in the same room but we're far apart because of space issues or something like that. That's acceptable to some extent. But there's absolutely no direct interaction with guests and things like that. I don't like it. She doesn't like it. We're okay. We're on the same. Actually, she's more hardcore than I am. So, we're good on that side. When it comes to going to other people's homes, we tend not to go to people's homes that don't have these kinds of restrictions. We just tend not to, because we're uncomfortable with that setting. And it's not about, we don't think it's haram or people going to hell, I'm not going to your house. I don't think like that. I'm not comfortable with that setting, so I don't want to put my family in that situation. That's all it is. Simple as that. Okay? So that's a little bit about just how interaction happens inside the house. Now, that's a lot of announcements. Okay. What was I talking about? Just guidelines for our own family, right? Guidelines for our own family. And the same thing with, as the girls grow older, we're going to have to devise rules as they get older. But there are certain rules we have in the house that are based on the ayat of Surah An-Nur. They're not perfectly followed because they're still learning, but we're trying to implement them. Like, for example, during the day, during the afternoon, if there's a Saturday, Sunday, weekend or whatever, the kids during the day, until the sun is up, they're actually not allowed to walk into the bedroom. They're not allowed to just walk into the bedroom. And technically the bedroom doors shouldn't be open. It's better that they're closed. And they should knock before they come in. ثَلَاثُ عَوْرَاتٍ لَكُمْ. We'll see that later on in Quran, in Surah An-Nur one day inshallah. There are 3 hours that are for you, that children should not be coming into your room. You know how in Western families, children just walk into the bedroom and they lie down in the bed? They do that, right? That's not how things are supposed to be. Now, if there's a small child and they're sleeping in your bed, that's something else. But we're talking about as kids get a little bit older. When they start getting, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, that age, then they absolutely have to knock before they come into the room. You can't expect your 1-year-old to knock. Okay? If you expect your 1-year-old to knock, then you'll have a lot of cleaning of the carpet to do later. So, yeah. So you don't want to be in that stinky situation, so you don't do that. But to set some restrictions on the kids, on when they can come into certain parts of the house, especially the bedroom, especially that, right? And these little rules, they go a long way in protecting the dignity of a family. A long, long way. The other thing also is, my wife does not pick up my phone, I don't pick up her phone. You know how sometimes your wife's phone is next to you, and somebody's calling, I could just pick up and say, "Hello, yeah, she's here, hold on." Nah. Look, maybe it's happened once in a while, but as a rule, we don't do it. It's okay, voicemail's okay. Nobody needs to hear my voice. And I don't need to hear anybody's voice. And nobody needs to hear the wife's voice. Talk on the phone or whatever. Hold on, I'll get him for you. No need. Unnecessary. We don't call it haram, we just say precautionary. We don't like it. We're not comfortable with it. So these are restrictions that you're supposed to abide by. Now, for example, in my office, on campus, you have sisters that are my employees. I have certain employees that are sisters. I have students that are sisters. And sometimes I have to give one employee an instruction, and they're in my office, the door has to be left wide open. She has to be in a chair not across from me, on the side of me. The chairs are purposely not across from me, they're on the side of me. So I can keep doing my work and she's doing her work. But we're not looking at each other the whole time. Because it's not appropriate. It's not a good thing. Right? And you have to leave the door wide, not even a little bit open, leave it wide open. Leave it wide open. Okay? And that's how it's supposed to be. And it's better if you have multiple sisters in the room, if that's possible at all. Some students need counsel. I prefer if they come in 2s and 3s and they sit down and talk. It's just better. It's better that way. These are small little guidelines, but you can implement them in your office. You can implement them at your home, And what they do is they end up protecting you. They protect you, no one else. So when you are in private conversation with a sister, right, even text messaging, to some extent, even with employees and coworkers and things like that, it's better to have other people in the group text. I'm not saying don't text at all, because sometimes it's a necessity. Immediate communications are important, but group text is better than individual text. You know, it's just better to just put somebody else in there, put 2-3 people in there. It's just all around, it keeps fitna away. It keeps fitna away. Why are we so protective? Because you could say, brother, we're Muslims, we don't have to be like that. Why are you like so worried about doing the wrong thing? Because Allah said this about people who are going to Firdaus. Because Allah said this about Ibadur Rahman. Because Allah said this, you know, even Yusuf alayhi salam's story, it's a prophet, right? It's not just any other person. And Allah said, had he not seen the proof, he would have desired her to. لَوْلَا أَرَّأَ بُرْهَانَ رَبِّهِ وَهَمَّ بِهَا. He would have desired her to. The temptation is there. So you have to be respectful of that. You have to know who you are, and you cannot consider yourself above temptation. وَلَا تُزَكُّوا أَنفُسَكُمْ هُوَ أَعْلَمُ بِمَنِ اتَّقَى. Don't consider yourself above it all. He knows better who has taqwa and who doesn't have taqwa. So these things are there for good reason. I pray that Allah Azza wa Jal allows us to become mature in these things. One last thing, I think it'll take 5 minutes for me to explain, and I'm done inshallah ta'ala, and hopefully in Surah An-Nisa and Surah Al-Ahzab other things can be discussed when the time comes. We'll set it up. Bismillah. I have one last thing about the shame series, and then an announcement I want to make to all of you. So the last thing about the shame series is, we have some elements in the Muslim community living in the West, particularly living in the West, that are so conservative about their women, that their women basically live in a box. Right? They're not allowed to go outside, they're homeschooled, they're not allowed to interact with men in any way, shape or form, they're probably not going to go to college, etc. Like, they're really overprotective of their girls. Super overprotective. And these girls will eventually face the real world, or no? Yes, and when they do, there's a shock. There's a super shock. And they don't know how to deal with it, and they end up, many of them, completely becoming the opposite of what they were raised with. Many times, because they were not taught to deal with it. On the other hand, you have guys that are extremely hardcore about never, ever, ever talking to a sister ever. That's not our religion. Our religion is have respectful interaction. Have respectful interaction, but don't become extreme and just completely haram. It's not like that in our deen. It's not like that in the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. It's not like that among the Sahaba. There are extra special precautions were taken actually for Ummahatul Mu'mineen. That's Surah Al-Ahzab. That's a separate issue. But you know what happens when you go overboard and you say absolutely no interaction, no boy shall ever talk to a girl ever, 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 ever. You know what happens? Then you get so frustrated. These boys get so pent up and so frustrated that when they get a little bit of a taste of freedom, there's an explosion. Because they don't know how to deal with it. They don't know how to deal with it. My personal advice for youth groups, I like youth groups. I really like youth groups. But I believe, I have my own philosophy on youth groups. 70 to 80% of youth group activities at every masjid should be boys do their own thing, girls do their own thing. Their own leadership, their own emails, their own communications, their own flyers, their own everything. They just do your own thing. And 20% of the time they can do a joint event with several chaperones on the guy's side and several chaperones on the girl's side that are married couples that are guiding their interaction with each other, teaching them how to respectfully work with each other without crossing the line, because we have an opportunity to teach our boys and girls how to deal with each other without crossing the line, because we know for a fact these girls will be dealing with boys outside, and these boys will be dealing with girls outside. It's a fact of life. So might as well use the Muslim community as a guided testing ground to teach them that respectful interaction with the help of adults that are supervising that interaction, so they know how to deal with these things outside. So if somebody's becoming too giggly, you pull the girl to the side. Why are you giggling so much? Don't you know that's not appropriate? Now I want you to go back and keep a serious face. You tell the boy is working with the girl, and he's telling, he's emailing her a file, or this is like, why didn't you email her dad? Why didn't you email her brother? You're not supposed to do that. And why are you staring so much? Keep your eyes down. Come on, boy, let's go. That's a good thing. And we need to teach that, because we are in a society which is open anyway. It's open anyway. So we might as well do that teaching within the community. But if all the activities are co-ed, then it just turns into fitna. Then it's bad. Then it's no good. Because then the guys are only coming to the meeting because the girls are going to be there. Yeah, I know. Okay? Oh, what's the point of a youth group? It's just guys. And you don't say it, but you're thinking it. You know? So your intentions have to be clean about why you're coming. And I believe this series that I'm doing should be a good orientation for youth groups. That you need it more than anybody else. Should be a good. This could be a good first discussion. How are we going to maintain these values in our youth group? How do we do that? And how do we keep each other from crossing the line? How do we make a promise to each other that will help each other? And when we know one of us is crossing the line, everybody will come in and help you out and say, no, let's stay in order. Let's keep each other in check. You know how will we do that? So then, in my last 5 minutes with you, inshallah, now that the series discussion is done, only two outstanding things, Surah An-Nur and Surah Al-Ahzab, inshallah, which is big stuff. I wanted to share with you the resource that Farzan mentioned a couple of times, Bayyinah TV. The purpose of it is basically to take all of the courses that I want to teach that have to do with either Arabic or they have to do with the Quran. Two subjects, Arabic related and Quran related, to actually get them recorded professionally, to get them properly produced and put them up on one massive resource, so that it becomes a continual resource for people who want to study Arabic and who want to study Quran in different ways. So on the Quran side, this will actually be the Shame series that you've attended today, will be the third Quran course on Bayyinah TV. The first Quran course on Bayyinah TV is Divine Speech, which is a study of the beauty of the Quran. The second course is the entire Quran in translation. It's called Cover to Cover. It's basically a dars on the entire Quran. So if you want to get ahead of me with Surah An-Nur and Surah Al-Ahzab, you can. I've already done the dars on it. It's already on Bayyinah TV. And then this will be the third Quran service, which is thematic studies in the Quran. Shame is the first of them. Parenting will be the second of them. I haven't decided the third one. It might be great women in the Quran, maybe. I haven't decided yet. But we'll see, inshallah ta'ala. But I would like you to check out Bayyinah TV if you get a chance. It's at bayyinah.tv. Bayyinah.tv. That's the URL for it. It's a subscription-based service, but we're hoping that it's affordable enough. It's actually supposed to be really, really cheap. It's $11 a month, so it's not much at all. And we're continually adding stuff to it. On the Arabic side, the only thing on there right now, which is pretty popular, alhamdulillah, actually we found out from our statistics, it's the most popular, is Arabic with Husna, which is when I teach my daughter about 10 to 15 minutes of Arabic a day, of understanding the Quran, like grammar of the Arabic language, and she's turning 11 soon, inshallah. She's young, and the idea is that hopefully I can teach children and adults through teaching her. So that resource is already there for you. If you only have 10-15 minutes a day, 2, 3, 4 times a week, that would be a good resource for you to get started on your Arabic studies. Just a little bit at a time, and inshallah it builds up. أَوَّلُ الْغَيْثِ قَطَرْ ثُمَّ يَنْهَمِرْ. Right? The first of the rain is just a few drops and then it pours. So within a few months, your reading of Quran changes completely. Right? I'm actually really shocked at the level she is at now. I don't tell her that. Hopefully she's not watching the thing. Don't let her listen. Okay. Yeah, she's pretty amazing. Alhamdulillah, I'm really grateful. She's not a genius, which is good. But she's gotten pretty far. She could actually probably go toe-to-toe with some of the Bayyinah students with Sarf. She could probably rat out the families faster than you guys. Yeah, 14 families, that. Sarf Kabir too. Not just Saghir. Saghir are like, we got this, we could do this. Sarf Kabir, oh, forget it. But Sarf is, morphology. So she's doing a good job with that. So I hope you guys check it out, inshallah ta'ala. Benefit your family with it, and also help spread the word about it. We'd really appreciate that too. Once again, the URL, what's the address again? Bayyinah.tv. And I alluded to it today a little bit. There's only one part of shame that I'm not going to discuss in this series. It's only one part of it. Actually, one of my favorite parts. Which is, I can't tell you. But I will talk about it in story night. Last year we had Amazed by the Quran, the conference. This year we're doing story night in Dallas. So inshallah, if you can make it, it's a big event later on in the year. You'll get, Farzan is going to tell you the announcement because he's genetically prone to make announcements at the Epic Masjid. So I'm sure you'll get the announcements later. But I believe it's June the 1st at the same convention center. So if you guys can look it up on our site, you can sign up early, inshallah. Alright, Jazakumullah khairan. Thank you so very much for listening, everybody. I'll be around for a little bit for any questions and answers, and then I'll leave. Barakallahu. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.